Are you struggling to write your PMP project description? Want to ensure your application gets approved? Hi everyone, I'm Andrew from PMAspirant, and today I'm here to share the 10 essential tips for writing your PMP project descriptions correctly and easily. Whether you're just starting or looking to perfect your application, these tips will help you create your best project descriptions with minimum effort. Let's dive in. Tip number 1. List all your major projects. The first step to a successful PMP application is proper planning. Start by listing all the major projects you've worked on within the last 10 years, beginning with the most recent projects and work your way back. Include essential details like project names, companies, and start and end dates. Continue listing projects until you have more than enough projects to satisfy the minimum 3 or 5 years of project management experience, depending on whether you have a 3 years with college degree or 5 years with high school diploma. Your past performance reviews and the company's project management information system can be invaluable resources for compiling this list. There are a few things to remember here. First, it is perfectly normal to have projects that overlap, but the overlapping project timeframes should only be counted once and not double counted. Second, it is perfectly fine to include projects that are still in progress. However, you should include at least one project that is managed from start to finish. Once you complete this exercise, let's move on. Tip number 2. Focus on the longest project first. Prioritize your longest projects to minimize the number of project descriptions you need to write. Create a timeline in Excel, listing years and months at the top and your projects on the left. This visual aid will help you identify project durations and any overlaps. If your longest project is still a work in progress, you must include at least one shorter project you lead from start to finish. Remember, this is not a resume, it's perfectly fine to have gaps in your project timeline in the PMP application. Once you select and decide which projects you are going to put on the PMP application, let's move on. Tip number 3. Notify your contacts before you write about the projects. Before writing your project descriptions, it will be wise to notify your contacts who can verify the projects ahead of time. Typically, this person will be your supervisor who is familiar with your project involvement, but it can be anyone who worked on the project, such as the project sponsor or team members. You should confirm you still have up-to-date contact information and that they are reachable. This step is crucial if your application is selected for an audit, and you will need your contact person. The last thing you need is that there is no one to validate your project during the application audit. Once you receive consent from your contacts for all the projects that you plan to put on the PMP application, you are ready to move forward. Tip number 4. Review PMI's application checklist and guidelines. PMI offers valuable resources like the PMP application checklist and guidelines. You should review these resources and understand what PMI expects in your PMP application. In the guideline, PMI provides the recommended format for writing the PMP project description, which includes a brief one-sentence project objective, your role in the project. The project deliverables summarized by the 5 process areas including initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. And finally, a concise outcome statement. I will provide a link to my article with the checklist and guidelines and all the tips mentioned in the description of this video below. Once you reviewed the guidelines and the checklist, let's move on. Tip number 5. Project objective must sound like a project and not an operation. It is important that your project objectives clearly describe a project, not an ongoing operation. PMI defines a project as a temporary endeavor to deliver a unique product, service, or result. A project is time-bound with a unique deliverable upon completion, whereas an operation is continuous, repetitive, and administrative. You must only include projects and not operations in your PMP application. For example, maintain and update the company's CRM system is an operation, whereas implement a new CRM system to replace the existing one in 6 months is clearly a project. If you need help and want to learn more about the similarities and differences between a project and an operation, please check out the project versus operation video. Once you know how to write the project objective properly, you are ready for the next tip. Tip number 6. Your project role should be leading and/or directing the project. One common confusion is the job title versus role in the project. While you do not need to have a project manager job title, your role must demonstrate that you led or directed the project. PMI defines what qualifies as acceptable project leading and management experience as the following. Perform duties under general supervision and responsible for all aspects and duration of the project. Lead and direct cross-functional teams to deliver projects within the constraints of schedule, budget, and resources. Demonstrate sufficient knowledge and project management experience. If your job title is not project manager, it will be beneficial to briefly outline your leadership duty across functional teams for the project. For example, if your job title is a technical lead, your role may involve leading the development of a new software platform working with cross-functional stakeholders. If your job title is a marketing manager, your role may be leading a project to launch a new product line. Even if your job title is an inventory operations manager and most of the day-to-day activity is administrative, there may have been instances when your role is leading a project to implement a new inventory management system. For more information, please check out our PMP certification without project manager title video. Once you understand the distinction between the title and role, and you know how to describe your project role, you are ready for the next tip. Tip number 7. Write project descriptions in active voice. When you write the main body of the project description, you should write in active voice to clearly show that you perform the tasks and minimize using the passive voice. For example, saying business case and approval were confirmed by the sponsor. In a passive voice will make PMI wonder who did the work and what was your role in this activity. However, you can change it to I confirmed the business case and received approval from the sponsor. Writing in an active voice will make your involvement clear to the PMI audit committee. Also, you do not have to begin with I in every sentence and can be omitted. As long as you write in active voice and begin with an action verb, it can be safe to assume that you did the work. If you are ready, let's move on to the next one. Tip number 8. Get inspiration from real PMP project description examples. One of the best ways to write the project description is to learn from successful project description examples shared by other PMP aspirants. Several PMP applicants have graciously shared their project descriptions on my blog. We gathered over a dozen project description examples across multiple industries. I will include the link to the examples in the video description below. Reviewing these examples can provide inspiration and clarity, but please do not plagiarize and only use them as a guide to craft your unique project descriptions. Let's move on to our next tip. Tip number 9. Use our project description template. If you're still not sure where to start, you will benefit from our project description template. This template already organizes project deliverables and methodologies into all 5 domain groups. Think of it like ordering food from a menu. You just need to pick out the deliverables and methodologies you applied during the project for each domain. It will serve as a good starting point for writing your project description. I will also include the link to the template in the video description below. By the end of this exercise, you should have an outline with 5 domain groups and underlying project deliverables and methodologies, like the following diagram. Tip number 10. Use AI to help you draft the project description. If you are feeling a bit adventurous, you can try using ChatGPT with the following AI prompt and the outline you created earlier to draft your PMP project description. I worked on project title, and the project objective was objective. The role I served in the project was role. Please help me write a PMP project description in first-person tone using active voice in about 400 words for 5 domain groups: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, controlling, and closing, and using the outline below. Then cut and paste the outline that you created from the exercise above. Once you have the output, it is important to review it and make necessary corrections to ensure accuracy and truthfulness. Finally, you can assemble the objective, your role, the 5 domains, and the outcome together for the complete project description. As a bonus tip, once you complete all your project descriptions, it will be a good idea to review the PMI's checklist prior to submitting the PMP application. In a nutshell, here is a summary of the checklist and a recap of what we covered. Include professional project management experience only. In other words, do not include personal projects. You must list projects individually. In other words, do not group the projects. Include the true title, project objective, and your role in the project. Your application can only include projects and do not include operational responsibilities. You must be able to verify the project if audited. There you have it. Using the template, checklist, examples, and AI assistance with proper steps, you can write amazing project descriptions with minimum effort. Next, do you want to know the most common mistakes made by students on PMP applications and failed the PMP audit? If so, check out the next video and avoid those common mistakes. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you find this information helpful. It will help us grow the channel and make great content. Best of luck with your PMP application, and happy writing!